Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notify button, and you'll never miss a video again.
Nope. But that's what they did.
Well, what'd you think about this show?
Production-wise, it was very, very impressive. Like, I haven't watched Raw in ages, and I thought the show open video package on the, the screen hung around the ring was really great. The building looked impressive, but I found the show really slow and really long. And as someone who hasn't watched in a long time, there was no angle, nothing really compelling to insist I watch next week. Like, I watched for 3 hours. There was 4 matches. And
yes.
I don't believe any angles.
Yes. Well, I talked about this on the show last night, and my good friend Paul Fontaine, I like Paul a lot, but, Paul said, I'll actually find it right here. He goes, what are you talking about? They didn't promote anything for next week. And he had like a list of matches that they went over for next week. And the list of matches was, it was like a bunch of matches that they'd been building up for a while. And like nobody involved in the matches for next week were even on the show. It's like, how is that going to get new people who tuned in excited to watch the show next week when you've advertised a bunch of matches of people that weren't even on the show? Like, you should have had things on the show to shoot angles so people tune in for the next week's show, not a standalone show. Anyway, whatever. Back in a moment. Observer Live. I got more to say. So listen.
So does Max.
So does Max, apparently, yeah. So here's the thing. I'll mute you for a sec while you take care of old Max there. So the thing to me is this, okay? Like, what's the point of the Raw debut on Netflix? I watched the show. I didn't mind the show. It felt very long, but I didn't watch it and go, this show is terrible. But I did look at it as, are we going to hook any new viewers with this show? Because if you look at the success of WWE, and you can see it watching the show, these fans, 17,000 people, it was the highest, and this is true, it was the highest gate ever for an arena show in the history of WWE. They sold 17,000 tickets at sky-high prices for this show and sold the place out. And, these fans, their fans, whatever you personally, listener, think of the show, their fans are eating this up, okay? And they have regained a lot of fans that they lost in, the 2010s and, up through 2019 and early 2020s. And how have they done that? They didn't bring those fans back with like one-off shows featuring old people. They got those fans back because the weekly episodic storytelling is 1,000 times better than it was 5 years ago, okay? So to me, if you have a show like this where the idea is we are going to have a ton of new eyeballs on tonight, to me, it's like, well, highlight what you've been doing well, which is episodic storytelling and shooting angles. So Paul here says there's no hook for next week. They did a whole 3-minute segment running down the card for next week. The finals of the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament, Sheamus versus Kaiser, Gable versus a luchador, who's probably Penta, and Damian Priest versus Finn Balor in a street fight. And he is correct. They did run all of that down. However, those matches mean something to you if you are a regular Raw viewer watching the show every week, okay? But the idea here is we've got new people tuning in or lapsed fans giving us another shot, okay? So of the lineup next week, the finals of the Intercontinental Women's Title Tournament, we saw neither of the women on this show. They made no appearances. Sheamus versus Kaiser, we saw neither of these men on the show. They made no appearance. Gable and a luchador, we saw Gable on the show, but all he said was, I want a luchador, and they didn't tell you who the luchador was. Now, we know, but if you're a lapsed viewer, a new viewer, etc., you have absolutely no idea who this person is going to be. You may not even know them when they show up. And Damian Priest versus Finn Balor street fight, we saw neither of these people on the show. They made no appearances whatsoever. So if you're a new viewer, what does any of that mean to you? absolutely nothing. Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe.